Welcome back. All right, team number 28 on the all-time power rankings, and we're getting into the Detroit Red Wings, a team that, if you look at the board here, they're trending in the right direction. They had some bumps here where they got higher up, and then, of course, you go through the really, really dark times. So dark that in terms of actual points percentage, they're at the bottom. They're 32nd in the NHL from 2017-2018 until now at a 439 points percentage. So it's been some dark times. The lowest they got in terms of average was 30.04. That being in 2019-2020, a very grumbly year for Mickey Redmond and the team. But this year is the highest they've been. Their average right now, as at the time I'm recording this, 15.47. Good on Detroit for, getting better. Their top scorer over this period of time, no surprise, is Dylan Larkin, their captain. 465 games played, 158 goals, 245 assists for 403 points. Does it make you feel old seeing Larkin playing that many games? It should. Makes me feel old. But everything does. Sunlight. Anyways, Jimmy Howard, the number one goalie when it comes to wins. Not for much longer, I don't think, because Husso's right behind him. But Howard, 47, 72, and 16 with a 904 save percentage. Jimmy Howard spending his career as a Red Wing. And well-respected goalie in his prime, but it was some tough years towards the end, of course, for both him and for the Wings. Their last playoff appearance being 2016. So if you want to blame the channel for the fact that Detroit hasn't made the playoffs in a while, you can try. It's as good a reason as any. But yeah, their current power ranking spot on the June 20th power rankings, 13th overall in the NHL. Now, with where the power rankings are right now, which is the 24th, they've actually moved up from 13th. We'll see whether or not they move up again. So, and looking at where they are, they did manage to make the top 10 in 2017-2018. They were number 10 once. They were also number 10 once the year after. They've been in the top row twice in the entire existence of the power rankings. 19 times they've been in the second row, 54 times in the third row, and in the bottom row, 82 times. So, again, much like a lot of the others on this list that I've looked at already, we're looking at teams that have spent a lot of time at the bottom and struggling to make things work. But for Detroit, it does feel like things are figured out for the most part. There's still the occasional 2 or 3 or 4 game streak they'll have where they don't look great. People will come down on Steve Yzerman and say the Yzer plan's not working. But in general, I think the Yzer plan is working, because you'll see there is a gradual improvement. They go from 30.04 average in the 2019-20 season. The following season, 27.19. The following season, 22.73. Last year, 20.54. And this year, 15.47. So there has been a gradual climb. I think the frustration that comes in is how gradual it is. But if you compare this with other teams that are rebuilding as well, that I've already documented, at least the rebuild for Detroit is trending in the right direction. Sure, it may not be at the speed that people want it at times, but they are trending in the right direction. It's very difficult to get your team from nowhere to somewhere, and Detroit is doing so right now. I would expect Detroit to end up, the question really becomes one of, are they going to make the playoffs? So one thing that stands out to me with Detroit is, so Alex Lyon's playing really well. Reimer's numbers have been shaky. Husso's numbers haven't been great this season as well. I do wonder, do you go with Lyon? Do you make a move in net? Do you move one of your goaltenders? They've been carrying 3 all year, but they need steady depth in goal. So what they really need is a backup they can 100% trust. So when Lyon needs a break, you can throw somebody else in. And it's weird to talk about Lyon as a starter, but this is the NHL we're in now, where, yeah, it happens, where a player can come kind of out of nowhere. Arizona, you got it with Ingram, and Detroit, you've kind of got it with Lyon. I say kind of because we saw in Florida last year what Lyon could do. The tricky part being, can he do it over a full season? Well, we're halfway through this season, and the answer's been yes so far. So we'll see if it is, going to remain the case as it goes through. I think they need another game-breaking forward. When we look at the Detroit Red Wings, where they are and where they're going to be, I think they need a forward that can really take over the game and control it. Like Colorado's got McKinnon, you've got Kucherov in Tampa, you've got obviously McDavid, you've got Bedard developing into that in Chicago. I don't know if Detroit has that. I know that DeBrincat's capable of 40 goals. He might be capable of 50 if he can get on a really good hot streak. But I don't know if they have that player who's going to be that mega superstar that can take them over the top. You don't necessarily have to have that to win the Stanley Cup, but in general it really helps. And so I do think that's the one thing that Detroit at this point doesn't have in their lineup. And I say in their lineup because there are a lot of prospects still yet to come up. One thing I've seen people talking about is how long players are staying in Grand Rapids. That's a throwback to the era where Yzerman was when they were winning the cup. Players would stay in the AHL for a while. We knew they were ready, but we knew that Detroit would bring them up when Detroit was ready. So with a guy like Berggren, for instance, he'll have a regular spot in the lineup when the team's ready for him to occupy that role, which can get frustrating if you think that the player's ready right now. But in general, I think that's what they need. I think the steady depth in goal and a game-breaking, explosive forward, and maybe Danielson's going to be the guy. But they've got a lot of depth in terms of their prospect pool. Maybe you dip into that this summer because they're going to have some cap space if they want to go out and pick somebody up. And maybe that happens. Detroit could be a buyer this summer. It could be great. Also, the jersey I'm wearing is the silver anniversary. That's why this is silver. And yeah, it's great. Or this was the 75th anniversary. Doesn't matter. It's a fantastic jersey, though. It's my favorite Detroit jersey, so I thought, sure, I'll wear that. But I'd be interested to know the thoughts of Detroit fans. Right now, obviously, this team much better than the 28th. They occupy in the overall list, looking from 2017-18 until now. But what do you think about the team, where they're at, where they're headed, and what do you think they need? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe in the event that you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.